emotionally imploding. And what that means is that all of this stress and all of this pressure keeps building, and it continues to build until you can't handle it anymore. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Not only what it is, but how you can handle it and do it differently. So stick with me, like, share, and subscribe, and let's get right into it. Now, you've probably felt that you perhaps stuff things inside. Someone's rude to you, a relationship's not going well. People say things to you. Now, I work with individuals that are along the borderline personality disorder spectrum, or other personality disorder spectrums as well. And these individuals are well known for swallowing a lot of their stress, a lot of their anxiety, a lot of their rage, and a lot of their fear. And what happens is when you eat all of that, you stuff it in. It's like you continue to blow up, right? Like a balloon inside. You don't explode, but you blow, you expand. And you continue to take this in, and that intense pressure continues to grow and grow and grow until you emotionally implode. And what happens, that emotional implosion, you've got two choices. Because it's internal, a lot of times individuals will attack themselves. They'll attack their own sense of self. And when that happens, what you do is that you tell yourself that you have no worth, that your value is irrelevant, no one cares about you, that you'll always be destitute, alone, broken, sad, whatever it may be. Because there are these components that all of us have. It's this family in the head. It's this chorus in our brain that tells us things, that feeds on our insecurities. It can also feed your securities and your strength and your confidence as well. But for individuals who stuff things inside and who emotionally implode because they're stuffing, and it just becomes so tight and so intense. Now, individuals along that BPD spectrum, typically they have difficulties in relationships, not only romantic relationships, but friendships and coworkers and things like that. And sometimes it can be people even in a grocery store that they just can't get along with, and it's really difficult. So all of those, even platonic or acquaintance relationships, are disrupted. And a lot of times this can be because of impulsivity and an emotional implosion episode, because it hurts so much inside, and they sometimes have difficulty defining what that emotion is. And that can be something called alexithymia, and I will leave a link right here to that video if you want to check it out. But it's this difficulty to define it. So what do you do with it? And when you go inward and you're tearing yourself up inwardly, then when you reach something so low, sometimes you start to give up. And that's when depression can seep in. That's when anxiety can start to kick up. It rebuilds that sense of fear. But it doesn't resolve any of the pressures, concerns, or issues that you've been stuffing inside. And it's the stuffing that we've got to deal with. So how do you deal with all this stuffing? It's not like stuffing a turkey, right? But what you need to do is you need to not stuff it. Now, to not stuff it, it requires assertiveness, not being passive or passive-aggressive or just aggressive. It requires being assertive. So being assertive can be really scary, particularly for a lot of individuals with a personality disorder, because a lot of times the people that are in their personal circle, their social circle, sometimes they judge them too quickly. Sometimes they don't see them. They're not willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. They don't see what they're struggling with or whatever it may be. There's so many different variations. But it's that assertiveness. It's communicating that sense of fear or self-doubt or low self-esteem or concern that you have, or whatever that stressor is that you're stuffing. Instead of stuffing it, you have to get it out. Now, let me tell you, with assertiveness, it's not always about getting it out at the direct target. Sometimes it can be going to a mental health provider. It can also be going to a good friend, sitting down with him or her and talking it out, maybe over coffee, or taking some time to yourself, even walking your dog or listening to music, but saying it out loud. You don't have to say it necessarily to someone else. You can even say it to your dog or cat if you want to. They're great listeners. Bird, snake, whatever kind of pet you got. But getting it out helps. It doesn't have to be to that target. And that becomes what I think a lot of stuffers think, If they believe, okay, so for me not to stuff it, I have to go with that person. And sometimes that person is an authority figure. Sometimes it's someone who helped pay your rent. Sometimes it's someone who's not going to understand your point of view or whatever it may be. So don't stuff it, because all of that stuffing, as I've mentioned, leads to that emotional implosion. And that's not what we want. What we want is we want you to be assertive, to get it out. And again, another tip is writing it out. Writing it out, those thoughts, fears, whatever issue it is, to get it out, or the anger, whatever it is, getting it out, is purging that sense of frustration and rage and sadness and despair, whatever you may be going through, but getting it out. And then if you don't want anyone to see it, the best thing about it is you can tear it up, crumble it up, you can appropriately in a good space, you can burn it, or you can flush it. So there are things that you can do to get it out. I discourage you from continuing to swallow it and stuff it. I encourage you to get it out and deal with it as best you can. So I hope this short video was helpful, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks a lot, and take care. Bye-bye.